Hello, digital SAT students and EST students. This video is a kind of practice for big picture questions, okay, with teacher Shuru Ismail. Let's start right away. Okay, we're gonna start with the passage here. We have a question, okay? I will read the question first before I start reading the passage itself. And out of the question, I'll see how I'm going to deal with this kind of passage and how to solve it. Okay, let's have a look at the question. The question says, which choice best states the text's main idea? So here he's asking me about the text's main idea, so I can understand that this is a big picture question out of the question itself. So I need here to have a leap from specific details to the general or central idea. Okay, let's start reading the passage. First of all, I have to think about the type of passage that I have. Let's have a look. To protect themselves when being attacked, fish, jawless marine animals that resemble eels, blah blah blah. Out of this, from the first look I had here, I can understand that this is a non-fiction. Okay, let's write it here. I can understand that this is a non-fiction passage. Okay, that's so nice. So as long as I understand the type of passage, now I can understand the technique I need to use. So here I need first to figure out what the topic is that I have here in this passage. So let's start reading together and think about the topic. Here, he's talking about hagfish, okay? They protect themselves, marine animals, okay, giving me a kind of definition for the hagfish between the dashes, which will release large quantities. Let's have here large quantities of slimy mucus-like threads. So he's talking about a kind of threads here produced by this kind of sea animal, whatsoever, hagfish. Okay, because these threads, it's repeated again, are usually unusually strong and elastic. This is a description of it. The scientists have been trying to recreate them again, refers to these threads in a lab as an eco-friendly alternative to blah 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 that are often in fabrics. The researchers want to reproduce the threads. So again, he's talking about the threads because farming hagfish for their slime would be expensive and potentially harmful to the hagfish. Okay, out of this, I can find that the word that repeated many times in this passage is the word, okay, it's talking about the threads, okay, while talking about the threads here that are produced, okay, by hagfish. So here, this is the topic that we are talking about because it is the word that is repeated, okay, throughout the whole passage many times. So that is our central, that is the topic. So I need to ask myself a question. So what about the threads here? What does he want to say about the threads? Okay, he wants to say that these kinds of threads are used, okay? The scientists want to reproduce them in labs in order to use them, okay, to make kind of fibers. Make kinds of fibers that are used for making fabrics. Very nice. He wants to say this. So let's see. Okay, here you can highlight this one too because it's important here. Okay, scientists trying to recreate them in labs as an eco-friendly alternative to petroleum-based fibers that are often used in fabrics. Very nice. That's what he wants to say about. Okay, let's have a look at the answer choices that we have here. First of all, he's telling me in letter A, hagfish are not well suited to being raised in captivity. Okay, here he talked about hagfish and about being raised in the last two lines. Let's come to them and have a look here. He mentioned first here, he mentioned that the hagfish in lab because farming hagfish for their slime would be expensive. He said that this would be expensive and this would be harmful to the hagfish. But he didn't mention that they are not well suited to it. And he didn't mention the idea of being in captivity. It's not mentioned too. Okay, so here it's not mentioned in this way in the passage. Okay, so he didn't discuss that they are not well suited to be. This is not the main idea of the passage. This is not what we saw him talking about throughout the whole passage. Maybe it is one of the specific details, but actually, even it's not mentioned in the right way. He mentioned that it's a kind of expensive and harmful to be raised in like in farms, something like that. But he didn't mention that they are they are not well suited to this. They are not well suited. They are not used to this. Okay, this is off topic. So this is not the right thing here. So we're gonna cross it out. So letter A is not working. Let's come to letter B. The ability of hagfish to slime their attackers compensate for their being jealous. Okay, he talked about their being jealous in the first line, and he talked about that they have the ability to slime their attackers. But he didn't talk about that they use it as a kind of compensation. He didn't talk about it as a kind of compensation for being jealous. He mentioned that it is a defense mechanism used by this fish. Yes, he mentioned this. But he didn't mention that this compensates the idea of being jealous. He talked about the central idea that I have in the passage again, that these threads can be used by scientists here in order to produce a kind of fibers that can be used later on in making fabrics. But he didn't use this as a main idea. And he didn't say that it compensates being jealous. He gives us only jealous as a kind of description to this fish. But the passage didn't say, for example, that this is a kind of a drawback or something that has to do with being a weakness point for in this fish. So letter B again is wrong for this reason. The word compensates here is not actually mentioned, and this is again not the central idea. Let's come to letter C. Hagfish have inspired researchers to develop a new petroleum-based fabric. Oh, I have to pay attention here because this one is tricky. Why is it tricky? If we come here to have a look at these two lines that I have highlighted them before, here you're gonna find that the scientists have been trying to recreate them, the threads I mean, in a lab as an eco-friendly alternative to petroleum-based fibers. Okay, what did he drop here in the answer choice? He dropped the word alternative to. So he's saying in the answer choice that the researchers want to develop a new petroleum-based fabric. Is it a petroleum-based fabric or fibers? No, it is not. It is alternative. What do we mean by alternative? Something we can use instead of. So he dropped the word alternative. Dropped, okay, the word alternative. When he dropped this, okay, he missed part of it. He actually wanted to trick you, okay? You can think about it, yes. I have actually mostly the same words here repeated, but actually he just dropped this one or eliminated the word alternative too, and he put you develop a new petroleum-based fabric. Actually, this is not petroleum because it's made out of fish Okay, and this cannot be petroleum based. That's why it's totally wrong. Okay, let's come to letter D. The slimy threads here is telling you, let's choose another color. Slimy threads, okay, that we read about, that hagfish release might help researchers, scientists. So here, instead of scientists, he got me the word researchers. Okay, create a new kind of fabric. Here, we mention that in these two lines again, that here, the scientists, okay, researchers, equivalent to researchers, create, okay, in the, he means, and they want to create a fabric, okay, and this fabric is made of the fibers that can be made from this kind of thread. So this is actually echoes the central idea that we could highlight in the passage. So this is the perfect answer that we can have in this passage. Okay, so this is the right answer. So it's actually letter D. Okay, so thank you so much. And I hope that we can have other videos